Hey guys, welcome to my video where I'm going to be talking about my quest to 100% Crash Bandicoot, the whole series. It's been a while since I've just got on here and talked about something which I want to definitely do more of, because I feel like it's much more interesting than just, I don't know, gameplay, and it's cool to see time trials and things like that, but I think talking about games is what I really find enjoyable. In the background for this video, you will see Crash Bandicoot: The Huge Adventure on Game Boy Advance, just starting from the beginning. I started playing it today. Well, I had a save that I started before, but this time I'm actually going through it like with my friend. We're gonna 100% it. So that's what's on in the background if you're wondering. You can see how bad or how good I am depending on your perspective. But I'm basically just going to be going over my Crash Bandicoot 100% quest in this video. I think I didn't really talk about why Crash Bandicoot in my last video where I introduced this quest. So I want to go over that. So Crash Bandicoot's one of the games I first played, like within my first, I would say 10 games I ever played. So I was probably like 7 at the time, 6 or 7. I guess it's my second platformer after Spyro the Dragon. So, you know, I have a lot of, I guess, history with the series, and I've always found it really fun, and it's like definitely unique. The story, the atmospheres, like it has its own feel, and I love that. And the platforming is just, it's great in the originals, especially. Like the controls are just so tight, and it felt just amazing to play. The platforming is superb. Like, honestly, one of the best, if not the best. We could talk about that another time. I do like other platformers, but again, I didn't have much platforming experience when I started with it. I had only played Spyro, and that's more like 3D open world, go where you want to go kind of thing, using the camera, spinning the camera around. Whereas Crash Bandicoot's kind of, you know, you go in one direction for the most part, and you can backtrack a little, but you know, it's different. More like, I guess, traditional platformers, probably, I would say. So I guess that's kind of why I want to do the Crash Bandicoot series, because I was thinking, like, what are the series I want 100%? And there's only a few that I have as far as like stories or campaigns go, like Halo and Gears of War and like Mass Effect. There might be a few others, but there aren't many. I figured Crash, I guess I thought it would be a little quicker, but once I decided that I'm not going to use any guides, that definitely made some of the games take longer. And I'm not done yet, obviously, if I just started the Huge Adventure today, but I've done the majority of them now, and I guess I just thought it would be a good series because I felt like I was familiar with a good amount of them, and I was excited to play the ones I haven't played for the most part. And even the ones I wasn't looking forward to as much, they've all turned out to be more enjoyable than I guess I expected. Because I go in with low expectations unless I have a really good idea that something's going to be amazing. Like the remakes of the n-sane trilogy and Crash Team Racing. Like, I knew they were probably going to be really, really good, and they were. But something like Twinsanity or Tag Team Racing, I'm like, well, I don't really know much about it. It probably isn't going to be amazing, but they turn out, I guess, better than expected, and they each have their own little things about them that are enjoyable and unique about them. So yeah, I think I made a good choice picking Crash as the series to 100%. And I kind of wish I was able to show the whole journey but I also wanted to go into that. It's a little bit of a recap from last time because I did talk about it in my last video, but real quick, and with a little more detail in certain parts. So I technically started, I think, in 2011, so 2011, towards the end of the year, technically. I mean, yes, I played these games before that, but as far as 100%ing the games, and I wasn't planning to do the whole series at this time, not specifically. It was a thing I've wanted to do always, as a lot of things are, but yeah, anyway, so I started with Crash Bash. I was playing co-op with my friend because he had played it when he was young as well, and we were in college at the time. And we're like, we're going to do this co-op. We both knew the game was really hard, and we were like, we want to beat it. And we wanted to see if we could, I guess. I mean, I was pretty confident, but he didn't think we would do some of them. And we'll refer to him as Severed Bean. That's his gaming name, I guess, right now, we'll say. Just so I can refer to him as that, because we play a lot of these Crash games together. So we did Crash Bash. So we started in 2011, and we were playing into 2012, and then we kind of didn't play for a while. And then we got back to it and finished right before I went to Japan. So this was early 2013. I think we literally finished the week or something before I left. So it was like my last time like hanging out with them, I think. And we weren't sure if we were going to finish. And man, I was really determined to do it because I didn't want to have to wait 10 months just to have another crack at it. So we did. And that was a tough game. And then yeah, so I was in Japan for 2013, and then 2014 I was finishing school. So after I graduated, before we all kind of went our different ways, we played through Crash Bandicoot 1, PS1, Crash Bandicoot 2, Cortex Strikes Back, PS1, and Crash Bandicoot Warped on PS1. So the first 3 games in the series. And if you don't know, Crash Bash is the 5th game that came out. So we did those, me and Severed Bean and Relics. Relics did not finish the time trials, but other than that, we did all of those together. And after that, my friend Severed Bean moved pretty far away, and we played Crash Team Racing, I think, later on. We went through it, us 3 again, except we used like Skype. So I actually did it twice. I did it once on my own after he had left, and yeah, I don't remember if I 100%ed. I think I did. So it was my first time doing the Oxide time trials. He's like the main boss, and he has like a ghost for each level, which is like a time trial. You have to beat him, so it's like 3 laps, and those are, I guess they're really tough. Some of them are like really tough, but at this point they're like not too hard for me because I've just played so much and got really good at the game. But yeah, that being said, I finished that, and then we eventually played that again together. I think this was 2017. I think Relics went through it with us as well. And then after that, I did Wrath of Cortex with Severed Bean again. I don't think Relics played that one with us. And then from there, I played the n-sane trilogy on PS4 when it came out, just on my own. And I did everything up until I was working on the time trials. And then I did the same thing for that game when it came out for Xbox One, which is my main like modern console to play. Did the same thing, got to the time trials and was working on those. Stopped. Just because I kind of want to save that for last, and I want to beat all these other ones, because I was trying to play them in order once we started with the first one again. Although I skipped over Crash Bash because we already played it, and I might go back and do that one solo, just because I want to see if I can do it single player, because I think in co-op you have like some advantages and some disadvantages, but I want to see what it's like doing it solo and do it, I guess. Just experience that. So after Wrath of Cortex, we did. There was a break, and then let's see, we got to Nitro Kart. Played through that, beat the story, started working on time trials, or relic races. Didn't finish those for a while. Eventually got back to them, and then one moment. After the time trials, we what did we do? I don't know. After the relic races, I realized to do the time trials, I was gonna need the fastest character with max stats, which is, well, I won't say who he is. I don't need to spoil it here. But basically, you have to play through the whole game as Team Bandicoot and the whole game as Team Cortex and like get 100% to unlock him. And that was kind of annoying to have to redo the whole thing as Team Cortex, but didn't take super long. It was just, I don't know. I'd rather have just been playing the time trials. Yeah, so I have not finished the time trials on there, but we were working on them a bit. I have 4 tracks done out of the, I think, like 13 or something. After that, we went to Twinsanity, and last time I made the video, I was about to get Twinsanity, okay? So I got it on Xbox because my PS2 copy was messed up, and I would have preferred Xbox anyways, so I got that, and we beat it 100%, and that one was definitely tough. Like, the backtracking was pretty ridiculous, and just navigating the map. So basically, it's kind of open world, and to get from one area to another, you need to know exactly how to do that. Like, you need to find, like, and one example is, like, there's a guy with a boat. You need to know where he is, go to him. Another one, if you're at the last, like, 3 stages of the game, you basically have to do all of those stages to get back to the rest of the game. So I had to, like, redo that, even though I needed, like, nothing from those levels. So that was pretty annoying, having to redo, like, unnecessary levels and finding all the gems for all the levels. It was just really hard to navigate and so much backtracking. It wasn't that enjoyable, but the game definitely had a lot of, like, I don't know, character to it. Like, the characters got really silly. This is where they kind of went really silly, took a different direction with the characters, and it did make them more unique, and in most cases, yeah, I liked it, but unskippable cutscenes and things like that, that was annoying, especially when you're being forced to redo these levels just to get to a different level. So it's not greatly designed, and doing it without a guide was definitely rough. If I were to do it again, or if I'm suggesting someone else to play it, I would put together a checklist of, not necessarily a checklist, but because you have the pause menu where it shows how many gems you have for that level. I would just make sure I never go to the next level without getting all the gems, which maybe can be tricky because of the save system. So I don't know, it's rough. I don't remember exactly how the saving works, but I know, like, there is auto saving where you get to a certain box and it'll just automatically save. So that's tricky. I don't know. Then we went to Crash Tag Team Racing, and we 100%ed that. Well, I did. He still, Severed Bean, he still needs, like, 1 power crystal or something, or, like, a few. He's not sure where they are, and he's already, like, checked everything, like, multiple times. So, not really sure where those are. For me, most of the power crystals weren't bad, and those are, like, the things to collect. They're found in many different ways. Some of them you just purchase with coins from different characters you find. Some of them are just hidden around the like, hub areas, and then other ones are hidden on the tracks, which was my case for the last ones I needed. Basically, in the hub areas, you can unlock a shortcut on one of the tracks for that hub area by, like, activating something, like finding that secret area and activating it. And then you actually need to go and use those shortcuts, so you need to know which level it is for, which is not super clear. And then you need to find it, which it's just not, like, super clear. and that's where my power crystals were. And yeah, I finished it though. It was tricky. That one was pretty fun though, because I didn't have to deal with backtracking, which some of these other games I have had to. And the platforming sections were kind of fun, just like going around the hub areas, like looking for hidden stuff. And it was also like a funny, like kind of silly game, but maybe a little more childish and more immature than Twinsanity. So I'm not sure. I didn't like that as much. I think Twinsanity nailed it a little better. And like tag team racing is where Crash started like just speaking gibberish, and that's how he was for the last few games. And it's just, I'm okay with that. It's just silly. It was different. So next was Crash of the Titans. I played this on the Xbox 360, so it was nice to get to the next generation of systems. Even though this game is on the PS2, I wanted to play the best version of it, which is on the 360, and I wanted to unlock the achievements and things like that. So that was nice to have that component for it. I played it on hard mode, which is a max difficulty. I 100%ed it with Severed Bean. Some of the fights were really tough, like against, like sometimes basically you have to fight these titans who you can like hijack and then use and control. But basically sometimes you're just Crash, and when you're weaker, you have to try to fight like 5 or 6 titans at a time, and they just pummel you just horribly, and that's rough. But basically what you do, once you jack like 50, or it depends on the titan, but a lot of them are like 50 of them, then you unlock a skin for that character. So then when you restart the level, you can put on that skin, and it makes your damage against that particular titan much greater. And there were a few levels where I basically could not do it until I had the skin, and then it made it a lot easier. And before I understood that mechanic, some of the there's a few levels that just seemed ridiculous, like really ridiculous, because I could not do the right kind of damage to beat any of the titans. They would just beat me down. So it did get very frustrating until I understood that mechanic, and even then, it was frustrating that I couldn't beat levels and just had to hijack as many as I could before I lost all my lives and restart, do the same thing until I finally got the skin. So I wouldn't say it's like a really bad game design, but a little bit flawed, at least for the maximum difficulty. On lower difficulties, it's probably not a huge factor. It was an enjoyable game though, and like the levels were like, there's like 18 levels or something like that. You just play through them, like you can restart them, but they're their own thing. It wasn't open world like Crash Tag Team Racing or Twinsanity, or the sequel to Crash of the Titans, Mind Over Mutant. So I like that format. I think it worked for that game. The tone was also pretty funny. There were definitely some funny moments with the story. So overall, it was a pretty good game. And I did like the new mechanics with Jack and the Titans and things like that. It's a little bit of like a beat 'em up sort of mechanic to it. So there wasn't really like platforming. It was more like fighting, and it was nice. It was different. I don't want all the Crash games to be like that. I don't want the future ones to necessarily be like that. But if they did continue that like kind of sub series, I would enjoy it. Yeah, I think there's something to it that is, I don't know, good. It's special, I guess. So anyways, the sequel, Mind Over Mutant, I recently finished. And it's the sequel to Crash of the Titans. Kind of the same stuff, except now it's open world instead of like just doing the levels separately from each other. Which could have been okay, but the backtracking was quite annoying. Not quite as bad as Twinsanity. Like, you're not locked into certain levels as much, so you could do a little more backtracking, at least on some of the worlds. But especially there's this ice area that is a lot of spots you cannot backtrack, so you have to go through the whole ice area, which, you know, that'll take a while. to do that, and I had to do that many times. There was one part in the story where you're in a desert area, you do something with the story, and then it says you have to go do something else, but it doesn't really say where, and you're like, there's nowhere else to go in the desert area, but I didn't know that. I was looking around for 2 hours, and I was like, what the heck do I do? And then I realized I had to go from basically one side of the game to the other side. Not the extreme ends, but like, yeah, I had to go through multiple like whole like kind of areas just to continue the story, which it wasn't clear at all. There's no like marker that says like where to go or anything like that. So that part I think is poorly designed. Yeah, but I did it. Then there's these dolls you have to collect that are hidden, and health upgrades. And the health upgrades, it doesn't even say which areas of the game they're in, so literally they could be anywhere and you don't know. Quite hard to do without a guide. I mean, if you're using a guide, it's probably not a big deal, but if you're not, like I was, man, you could be searching for hours for dolls and health upgrades, which I did without like finding anything. So it's a big treasure hunt. So if you like those kind of things, like treasure hunts where you're like kind of looking for a needle in a haystack kind of thing, it's good. If you don't want to do that, you just want to like, I don't know, not have to do all of that backtracking, I don't know, if there's like a simple checklist, which I might make, where it just says like, this is how many are in this area, I think that would help. And each area has like multiple sections, so it's like you have to know where all the sections are, how to get from one section to another section, which can be quite confusing. But I figured it out. And then after that, you have to level up all the Titans. Like in this one, you can level up the Titans by collecting stuff when you beat enemies or break things, and you get a multiplier when you're not getting hit, so then it goes a lot faster. But yeah, I guess figuring out how to maximize that was tricky and kind of fun, but it was pretty grindy, and I didn't really like that part of it, especially since I had already beaten everything else in the game, so leveling them up was fairly pointless other than to beat the optional missions, which is to level them all up and to 100% the game and get all of the achievements. So it wasn't great. I did find really good strategies for doing it, so it's not terrible once you figure that out, but it still takes hours. And yeah, so Severed Bean and I did finish those, and Mind Over Mutant is also on PS2 and also 360, so I played on 360. And then I started the Huge Adventure with them today, and we got 40-something%, which was nice, in just one play session, like 2.5 hours. So, I mean, it's a simpler game. It's Game Boy Advance. The levels aren't as long as, like, the PS1 versions or, you know, some of these other ones I've been playing lately. And then after that, well, I'll get to it, but yeah, so that's the one we're working on now. So I do still have some games left. I have been playing Crash Team Racing nitro-fueled on the Xbox One consistently. Every Grand Prix I've gotten all of the characters, not all of the other things like different wheels and kart skins. I've gotten all the karts. And then I've gotten all the champion decals, which you get by being in the top 5% for that Grand Prix for either like points for when you win matches online, or for how much nitro, how much you filled up your nitro gauge, which you'd get by doing challenges to get nitro points. And for the amount that I've played, which isn't even excessive, I've easily gotten in the top 5%. I'm guessing it's harder on the PlayStation because more people play there. I can't say for the Switch. I don't know what it's like on the Switch. But But for on the Xbox One, it was easy for me to beat people. Or, I mean, beat the leaderboards to get the champion decals. So I have all of them. And they just announced that the last Grand Prix is going to be next, like starting soon, a few days or whatever, because the other one just ended, I think, today. So that'll be interesting. They're still going to be adding stuff afterwards. But, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with that. I did get almost all of the stuff from the pit stop, so that's the unlockables for this Grand Prix. The what's it called? Like Rustland, whatever. Yeah, for this Grand Prix. So, in my last video, my last Crash Bandicoot, when I introduced the quest, I said that I pretty much did most of the hard stuff that was left for the series, and I don't think that ended up being true. Like I said, Crash of the Titans had some challenging levels, you know, being able to beat multiple Titans at a time, and just those frustrations. Mind Over Mutant was a huge treasure hunt and a grind fest, so that was hard in its own way, for sure. I think getting over that was maybe going to be the last, like, hard and not extremely fun thing, because I think time trials for all the games is going to be a lot of fun, but hard. Nitro Kart time trials might be tricky. I don't know exactly, because I was getting better last time I was working on it. And then the Crash Team Racing nitro-fueled, they're going to be adding developer times after the last Grand Prix. And they say you'll unlock something if you do that. And I'm guessing that's going to be really tough, because they're going to be harder than the Oxide times, which I haven't even finished all of those. Although I probably could. I started working on them. So I look forward to those, but those are probably going to be tough. As far as other games that I have left to do, we have the Huge Adventure here, and then we have the Game Boy Advance, the second one, n-tranced, and then we have the third one, Purple, Ripto's Rampage, and then the DS game Boom Bang. So I've never played those three at all, so that'll be fresh and hopefully fun. I am enjoying the Huge Adventure so far. Like I said, it's a little more simple, but it's classic Crash gameplay, which is nice, because I haven't had that for a while, doing all of those other games. And then I've got the Nitro Kart time trials, n-sane Trilogy time trials, and nitro-fueled time trials, unlockables, and developer time trials in the future. And that's all there is to do, which is nice. I'm looking forward to all of it, and I will continue this quest. There are other series I do want to 100%, which I will make videos about. I'm going to have one right along with this video, either right after or within a few days or so, which is going to discuss another series that I've already been working on for a long time. It would be nice to have gameplay and maybe dialogue through all of these games, but I'm playing the Crash games with my friend, so I'm just talking to him, playing with him, so it's not something I want to be doing with other people involved, I guess, other than like Relics if he's playing with us. But definitely post in the comments here if you're playing through the Crash games. I do want to make mention of another friend I have that is actually going through all of the games as well. Venom. I can't remember exactly where he is. I think because he's actually playing them in order, whereas I kind of skipped around a little bit because I skipped the handhelds for a while. I think he was on Boom Bang, and he's got other ones to do as well, but he's been playing Crash Team Racing nitro-fueled consistently as well, and he has a lot of stuff on there. He might be further than I am. I'm guessing he is, actually. So that's awesome that he's doing them all as well. So I kind of have two friends doing it. Severed Bean is not doing, probably won't do the n-sane Trilogy or Crash Team Racing Nitro-Fueled, just because he doesn't have the modern like systems to play them on, and I don't think he cares to get them. But Venom is doing all of those, and it'll be cool to discuss with him all of the games and just talk about them, because it's interesting to have the perspective of doing all of the games. And you know, I definitely want to like talk about it, and I want to give my input, my feedback and thoughts to the current developers of Crash games, because I feel like I'll have a unique perspective by doing, you know, just so many of these, or all of the games, and really understand kind of what the series is about. And yeah, I just want to discuss that with others. I think that's fun. I think that's one part of games that's important to me, is the social aspect of them, whether you're talking about them or playing together or giving your feedback to the developers. I think it's all important. So that's about it. So this is the first boss. I think this is the first boss of Huge Adventure, and I die a silly amount of times. I don't know if I already did. I haven't been watching, but yeah, I think as far as like raw gameplay, I'm gonna start uploading that to like a separate channel just to keep it separated, because I think like some people would rather listen to videos about discussing games and like thoughts on games and like kind of like a review thing, and that's what I want this channel to be, is like kind of the more involved videos, whereas I do want to have gameplay of other ones, like all of my other videos. What am I saying? I like some of the videos I've done in the past where it's just gameplay going through the games, so you can see me play and I can look back on it, and I think that's valuable too. But it's probably good to be separate, because people who are subscribed might not want to just watch all these random gameplay videos, especially if there isn't commentary. And I'm not really sure if I would want to do commentary, because like when I'm playing games, I like to focus and be really into it, and I don't want to be talking and stuff like like streamers do, or like just people doing live commentaries. Not that I don't think that's cool in its own way, and I have enjoyed watching some of those in the past of other people, but I like to reflect on it and talk about it afterwards more so, and just be in the moment playing the game. And I'm just quiet when I'm playing, unless I'm talking to a friend that's also playing, or if we're doing co-op or something. So that's probably what I'll do. I haven't decided exactly. I tried live commentary a tiny bit before, and I just feel like it kind of ruins the experience for me. It makes it just different in a way that I don't really like, and definitely I think messes with my focus. So yeah, I'm gonna have more videos like really soon about like kind of what I want to do with the channel, and what series I want to play more of, and what series I want to 100%, because you can only do so many. You can't do that many, especially if they have 19 games like Crash Bandicoot. So we'll see what happens. This video's been a little long, but it's awesome to talk about it, and I hope you enjoyed listening to my thoughts and my progress on the Crash Bandicoot series. And if you are doing the same thing, or even if you're playing a significant amount of Crash, definitely jump in the comments. We'll talk about it. I love chatting about the games, seeing what people have to say. Everybody has different favorite Crash games, and it's just so interesting. Once I've done all of them, I'll definitely do some videos on like favorite Crash games, or ranking them in order of how much I like them, or feedback and review kind of stuff. And I really look forward to doing that, but I need to finish the games first. Also, if you're wondering how I played this, if you're not familiar, the Nintendo GameCube has an attachment you can get called the Game Boy Player, and it can play Game Boy, Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance games on your like television screen. And that's why you can see this border. You can change the border to different colors and stuff. And that's how I was playing Crash Bandicoot, The Huge Adventure. Yeah, which is nice. So I'm like using a GameCube controller, and it's a useful attachment. Fortunately, I got mine a long time ago back in the day. I think they're more expensive now, but I think you can still get them for a somewhat reasonable cost if you really want to play them on the big screen and you want to play with, you know, original hardware. Yeah, that's about all I have to say. I know I've said that a couple times. You know, I haven't made a ton of videos. I'm not 100% used to just talking about stuff. So I try to be organized as I could, but you know how it goes. Thanks for listening. If you liked the video, please click the like and make some comments so we can discuss. I'd like to hear what you have to say. If you want to see more Crash Bandicoot videos or videos about the series I'm working on, like gaming updates and things like that, then subscribe, because that's the stuff that's on the way. Thanks for watching, guys.